I'm Enya Flack, and you are watching Two Mics Up.
007.
What's happening, everybody? It's Monday, and we're back with a brand new episode. I'm your man, Damon Cunningham, aka Dame D NYDC. Hope you all had a great weekend. I know I did. Enjoying the time that I had with the family this past weekend. Today, I hope you really though are ready for the voices of an artist. Today's guest joining me on the other mic. She's not only lended her voices to other pieces, but some of the works that you probably are familiar with. She was a regular in Malcolm and Eddie, hit comedy. You've seen her in Outer Banks. You've seen her in a lot of works that, when you look, you have to take a double take because her energy when she's on screen is amazing. And I'm just honored to be able to share her story today with you all. So if you all just take a second, put your hands together, and welcome to the other mic today, the wonderful Enya Flack. Enya, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. You know what? I think I'm going to have to hire you because you need to be a publicist.
Hey, look, sister, your resume, and I mean, I just that's just the tip of the iceberg with your resume, because to even go back further, you graced us not only with your voice, but as a journalist on screen with E Live and Extra and all of those things. I mean, you have a history, if you will, for those who are not familiar with you, because sometimes it's always about what you've done last, right? And we live in that the work that you've done last, but everything that you've done, you've really left your mark on. And I'm curious to know, before we even really dive into your whole story, we got to go back to the beginning. Who is the amazing Enya Flack? Where is
Oh,
she from? What's she about? What she like to do when she ain't working? Like, give us some business.
oh my goodness. My head is going to blow out of this house. Well, what can I tell you? I grew up. I'll start way back. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
The oldest of two kids. My parents were school teachers, both of them, science teachers in public school. And growing up, I don't know that I was really thinking about this. I don't know that I ever really thought I would go into the entertainment business,
Really?
say, at all. It's just not, you grew up in North Carolina, at least at the time when I did. That just wasn't, and that's before social media and everything else. And
True.
um, that's not just I do remember when I was about 4 years old singing into a hairbrush in front of lighted a lamp in the back, whatever, or front, whatever. I do remember that. But it's just it's funny how life can throw you some twists and turns. But anyway, after I left here, I went to school in Washington D.C. I went to George Washington University.
Okay.
And that was kind of a compromise. I don't know why, but I always wanted to leave home. I love my parents.
Mom, dad, just want to let you know. Yeah.
So I ended up in DC, and I would say that's when my whole little world started to open up. I was a very sheltered kind of kid, but going there really opened my mind because there are people from not just all over the country, all over the world.
The world. Yeah.
And I had decided to study journalism because I really admired a number of female reporters, anchors. Well, no, not even anchors at that time.
Right.
Reporters who were on the air,
Right.
and I just thought, oh, they're beautiful, they're intelligent, and blah blah blah, And I really, what I really admired was the confidence that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that I didn't have. I was really shy.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, like super shy. So the thing is, when I graduated with that, that degree, decided that wasn't what I wanted to do. I did it for about a year and a half full time.
Oh, really?
That was not what I wanted to do. But I did. I had a background in music, thanks.
Mhm.
my mom, classical music, and an interest in still in TV and film and that sort of stuff. And through a series of weird, well, it wasn't that weird. It was kind of sad, actually. I was engaged to somebody, and
Okay.
we broke up,
Okay.
and I just wanted to refocus myself, and I ended up
Yeah.
moving to California. So,
Wow. Look at that.
it's funny how things happen, but
Isn't it?
yeah, yeah. But that's a little of my backstory, I
I
guess.
love it. And no, look, it is amazing because this just to think it. Well, to hear you say, this wasn't your first thought, right, and your first intentions,
Mhm.
and then to watch you one flourish, as an actress, with the voiceover work, as a host, being on Malcolm and Eddie, and all the Queen's Men, I believe. What was the other one? Marbles and Bullets, Black Scorpion. Like like I say, you're probably sitting there like, wow, who is this guy? This guy's really wow.
Been
But
looking at the IMDb, huh?
yeah, no, hey, no, hey, we do our homework here, and you know what was that journey like? Because the voiceover work is like really one end,
Hmm.
and then you have the acting in the middle, and then you have like, what was it like? Was it a whirlwind to kind of go through each piece? And when did it hit you that that, not to say you arrived, but hey, I can really do this, you know, consistently.
Right.
'Cause there had to be a moment of aha to say, "Girl, I got it."
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I first moved to LA, I decided I was going to give myself 3 years to see.
Mm, okay.
You know, let's test the waters. Give it 3 years, see what happens.
Okay.
And the way I ended up in LA, quite honestly, it was, or it ended up acting. It was one of those fairy tale stories. I was teaching
Hmm.
at a modeling school. I had modeling
Okay.
in my background, so I was teaching these little modeling classes, and there was a, a manager, talent manager, acting manager, who came to the school to scout for talent. And I was sitting in my office, and he actually came to me and asked me if I had done any acting, and asked me about reading some sides. I didn't even know sides, you probably know, or for
Hmm.
anyone who doesn't know, it's what you get when you audition. It's
Right.
part of a script for anybody who
Right.
doesn't. Um, Asked me to read with him, and he said, and okay, so I swear to you, he says,
Okay.
you know, you've got a really good look. I think I could represent you. And I'm thinking, oh, come on.
Like, really, that's the best you got? Like, come on, really?
Okay. And he asked me, because I should say I didn't move directly to LA when I moved to the West Coast. I moved to San Francisco first, so that's where
Okay.
I was. But he asked me about coming down for an audition. And I said, well, if it's on a Friday, I could come down. That's my day off.
Right.
So, yeah, so I went down. Within 2 weeks, he had an audition for me. I went down, I read, and it was the first audition I ever had in my life.
Oh, wow.
I had taken one acting class at GW,
Okay.
and but somehow I booked it
Good. Look at that. Yeah.
first thing. So I do believe I'm a big believer that God puts you where you're supposed to be.
Agreed.
In that fate, whatever you want to call it.
I agree.
And so I decided to give it a shot, and but when did I really feel like I could do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right around year 3.
Okay.
Yeah. That
And
I booked Malcolm and Eddie just as year 3 was coming
look
to.
at that.
Yeah.
And see, I agree. Some things people don't realize the power of your words and the intent behind it when you put it out in the universe.
Hmm.
I say it a lot here on the show. Is from your mouth to God's ears, and you have to be. You don't know when it's going to happen. When it happens, you got to be ready,
That's
right? And I believe in that wholeheartedly. And just really looking at you, from that instance, then Anya, like what approach then? Because you've kind of transcended across multiple genres, if you will, in your work.
right.
And
Hmm.
like I think about like Outer Banks being on one end, Malcolm and Eddie being on another. Like, yeah, I mean, just being honest, like in my mind, I'm just trying. So, how do you approach maybe your preparation, right? Because one, you had a recurring role, right? And then you have another where sometimes it may be a one-off, if you will.
Mhm.
So what is your mindset like when you're preparing, you know, one versus the other?
Well, I mean, the basic difference is that it's you want to think about character development. So with a recurring role, you basically you need to dig deeper
Hmm.
into the character's backstory. Who is this person? What has he or she, well, she, she, he,
Right,
whatever,
right.
gone through in his life that has brought him or her to this point in the script? What are they motivated by? Just and you can do like a psychological. You can think about your own backstory in that way.
Right.
And you want to also think about their potential growth over time. How
Hmm.
are they going to relate potentially to the other actors, the other characters in the story? So
Hmm.
you got to think about that. And a lot of auditioning is just you have to make a choice. Your choice may be wrong, but you have to, but wrong, or I shouldn't say wrong, different from the original intent of the writer, for example.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But the actor brings himself or herself to that character, and that
That's
is
what
part.
makes it unique though, too,
That's
though,
what makes
right?
it unique.
And
Exactly.
that's what you're really hoping though, too, at a point maybe catches, the director or producer catches his eye that, that's not how I originally wrote it, but I see that. I can
Right.
see that. Yeah, okay. All right. That's where your talent and your magic comes in.
Exactly. Now, with a guest appearance, a one-off guest appearance, I mean, you still want to think about you know backstory and all that, but it's more about just sort of capturing the essence of the character more quickly, and
Right.
it's usually to you want to establish the character's relevance just in a shorter
In a
span of
shorter
time,
period of time.
and it usually is something to just sort of further a main story, and
Mm.
so
Mm.
yeah.
I love that because we see the glitz, the glamour, and that's one of those. I always I like to ask because I believe each artist is different in preparation, but we as the fan we don't really get to really understand and enjoy that because we're so caught up in the moment, what's going on with whatever show or whatever series it is. You're not really looking because you're a human being too, and you're bringing that magic to us, and I think it's great, from that sense. But you also do voiceover work, Anya,
Mhm.
and that has to be like a whole different type of animal or beast when it comes to challenges, right? And it probably has its own unique challenges.
Mhm.
Just getting, I guess, in the booth and drawing from within. But I'm curious to know, like, and to me, I think this is the amazing part. Just like listening sometimes, like, where do you get the emotions, like, to convey, what's ever going on? Like, let's say in that piece that you're reading, and to really make it so that we, as the viewer or the listener, or even sometimes it's a commercial or an ad, we would like, sometimes I sit here and a commercial be on. I don't know what it is, but just because of the tone and the emotion, sometimes you just got to turn and look like, okay, what are we talking about here?
Right.
Like how do you do that? When you're working on a voiceover piece.
Well, I don't know. I just try to get into the head of the character, whoever it is. I mean, even though you don't have visual clues, that
Mm,
the advantage of visual cues. Um, for example, what's a good example? Um, you would speak differently. Think about it. You're going to speak differently if you're talking to your best friend in the back seat
mm,
of the car, for
mm,
example. It could be like, and imagine there are two people in the front seat.
right.
That it's more like this kind of
Uh-huh.
thing. And that could be used if maybe the person's character is a little on the sneaky side, and maybe he's not on the up and up, that kind of thing.
Okay. Gotcha.
That sort of thing. It's just you just have to sort of think about, okay, again, who am I portraying? What is it that motivates them, and who and say the person is if there's a physical kind of thing that would be going on,
Mm,
you can do things with breath control, like it's
I got it.
I mean,
Yeah.
like a grunt. Okay,
Right.
like if I go, mm, you'd hear that and you go, okay, that's disgust or
Yeah. Somebody discussing where we going with this, right?
exactly. But if I'm
Mhm.
like, or I mean, it's
Well,
just you. It's
you
you
feel
know,
the emotion. You
yeah.
feel
It's just a matter of just really thinking about it. Basically, that's about it. Just thinking about what is it? How would you do it? It just takes practice
and that
essentially.
and that's really why the practice really conveys though, because this in that short moment, I mean, you gave three different emotions that all made sense. Like, okay, okay, what's about to happen, or oh, she pissed. What's going on next? So and those things, I mean, you do it so effortlessly, and that look, again though, for someone like myself, we only see the finished product. And again, though, the time that it takes, because I mean, sometimes I can only imagine what a take has been for you. So that could have been a couple of hundred times, maybe just to get it right, if I'm correct, right?
Well, that's true. Not on set. You won't get hired again if you do 100. But the thing, what I like to do is because I had an audition that I put on tape earlier today.
Mhm.
If you're lucky, you're going to get those sides, or if you're really lucky, a script, a couple of days before you
Right,
have to get it into the casting director. I
right.
like to I like to live with the script or live with the sides for a couple of days, and I'll. It's not about necessarily learning the lines because the lines
Mm,
will come.
right.
It's more about learning who the character is, that really thinking about it, and then like I'll have it. I'll have exactly in mind what I want to do. Say like last night, and then this morning I'll wake up. Oh, wait a minute. No,
Yeah,
what if and
I
to bring
see.
in more texture for the. So it's it just takes practice, and if you can get it a little time.
I get it. I hear it. You're right. You're right. I mean, I say it. You might want to mess up 100 times while you're working on it,
Right.
but you want to nail it when you get in there and you get in the room. So I love it, and I thank you for sharing that with us. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short pause for the cause. We want to thank our sponsors over at Riddick Entertainment and TD3 Insurance Enterprises for allowing us to sit here and talk with Anya. So we're going to catch you on the other side of the break, because we're going to come back and we gotta talk about Anya and some other things. We're gonna ask her where she getting her water source from, y'all, because the sisters Bayman and Glenn. I gotta find out how she's down, because I need to get some for myself. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are fresh out the break with the amazing, the lovely, the talented Enya Flack. Enya, we talked early, about how you actually got into your acting and your voiceover career. But I just want to take a step back and just talk about your journalism, time as a journalist. And I'm curious for you. One, you said you went to journalism school here at GW and you got into it for a little bit, but that love, let's say, I don't want to say you lost the love, but that desire faded. And was some of your approach that you used or you took from really being a journalist, were you able to apply, if you will, to your acting or voiceover career in your early stages?
Oh, absolutely. With regard to the voiceover
Hmm.
work, one of the first classes that I had to take in journalism school was voice and diction.
Mm.
And because being from the South, I had a little like this, and so it was literally embarrassed out of me. That's a long story, but so that definitely helped with the voiceovers and just you develop an ear for accents, for dialects, and all that sort of stuff over
Mm.
time. So, but yeah, that helped with that. As far as the rest of it goes, I can now learn lines very, very quickly,
Oh, wow.
without much trouble. And I believe it's because of my work in journalism.
Mm.
Early on in my time in LA, I was very fortunate to get a job working for KCBS
Okay.
for the sports department, just the weekends. But
Hmm.
we did, much of what they had me do was go out to a lot of bars, a lot of games, and talk with fans. And it's very loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you figure out what you want to say, but you can't hear because there's a lot of yelling. And so,
Right.
you memorize very quickly because it's all live.
Hmm.
And so that was great practice, if you will, for learning lines quickly
I bet.
for acting.
I bet. I mean that transition one is just they seem so opposite, but it makes sense to hear you talk about just the transition from having to be kind of put in the lines then, if you will, as a journalist,
Mhm.
right, and really having to be on time, with what you're going to say and what you're going to talk about, to then fast forward into your career as a voiceover artist and all these other things. It just probably was more seamless for you in that aspect than probably for most. And looking back, um, you know, how is there anything that maybe you wish that maybe you had done differently, or is there something that Anya today would tell Anya of old girl, pay attention to? Is there anything that you would share? Looking back and reflecting.
Um, I nothing regarding, my I guess, I probably would have started taking acting classes a little earlier, perhaps, because I
Mm,
didn't start studying
right.
until I was in LA. Um, so I think I would probably do that. But I've always been a big believer in pursuing your passions and going with
Hmm.
like anything that comes to mind. Yeah, give it a shot. Why not?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why I have been able to do so many things because I guess I'm a daredevil in that way. If the
Okay.
opportunity comes, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. But I guess that would be the only thing that I would say. Yeah, I'd probably start studying acting, the
Uh,
the the, the basics of
the
acting
basics.
earlier. I think, yeah.
Well, you've done a great job without studying, and when you talk about Daredevil, because I don't see the Daredevil in you. You remind me of a dear friend of mine. We call her Southern Belle. She's from the Carolinas as well, and
Oh,
she's such a Southern Belle like yourself. But I don't see the Daredevil part, but I can understand it.
oh,
And
I've done some crazy stuff, things that would make no sense to most people. So
look, I'm all for crazy stuff. Look, I'm from New York, so that's just like part
there
of
you
that's natural. But you also, like you say, taking chances. You're an entrepreneur as well, and you have a business that you're part of. Called We Talk for You, and I want to allow you to take a moment, one, just to educate our audience about what We Talk for You is all about, and what inspired you to start that journey.
Oh, well, thank you for asking about that. So actually, We Talk for You is sort of a new subsidiary of another company that I started back in 2010. I What you find when you're an actor is that you are all, unless you are really blessed to, get a job on a series right away, you're always looking for the next job. And then you have these times when you're not working, and so you figure,
Mhm.
if there's rent to pay. So
No, that's right.
so I used to do trade shows, and that's something I learned about from other girlfriends that I would audition with and whatever. But I would do presenting.
Okay.
Presenting at trade shows is basically, you're up on a stage and you're doing corporate speeches,
Right.
for various products, that kind of thing. So um, one of my clients, and I worked for several great companies. I worked for Porsche, for example. There's a company called Western Star that I worked for. But anyway, one of my clients says to me, you should start your own agency. You're very good with people. You should start your own agency and hire other people out to do this stuff as well. And I thought that's actually not a bad idea. So that's what I did in 2010. And so I still have that company, but We Talk for You is specifically for it's a speakers bureau. So that's
Okay.
the vision of the other company.
I love that. That's awesome. To be able to go ahead and spend that into something, um, to where not only you but others can benefit from. I mean, I'm very familiar. I worked in the trade show industry for almost 20 years.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was. I worked on the other side. I was the actual, well, I like to call, we were the builders. So we build the city in 3 days and we tear it down in 2 days. But I met so many great people, like yourself, speakers and different things um, across the time. It's a great industry. And I tell people, if you are, if let's say if someone is watching and they're interested in becoming a speaker or would like to find out more, is there a way that they can reach out to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
just visit. The website is P like Peter, T like Tom, M like Mary, ptmagency.com.
Okay.
And you can register, or you can just shoot me an email to just an info at ptm.com, ptmagency.com, and I will get you all the information you need.
All right. Well, we just had to drop that in there really quick. I want to be able to make sure if anybody's watching, if you're interested, reach out to Anya and let her know, hey, this is something maybe you're interested in. Hopefully, she can help you, get yourself started, in your speaking engagements and things of that nature. So time is really flown by. This has been an amazing conversation. We are on the back end. I still haven't had really a chance to ask you where you're getting your water from. I don't know if we get it from Lake Minnetonka or wherever. But I got to get some. I'm gonna have to hold you for a
Oh,
minute when the show's over. But
I'll get you some. Don't worry about
please,
it.
please do. Like whatever you do in the mail, carry a pigeon. I don't care how we got to get it. Just get it here. But before we go on, I want to allow you to take a moment. Is there anything else that's coming up that you want to share? And please share your social media. I want to make sure our audience goes out, follows, and supports you. You're such a talented sister. You're amazing, and you're a loving soul. And I thank you for your time today.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, let's see. Social media, it's just my name, Enya Flack at Yahoo. Not Yahoo. Enya Flack for Instagram, for Facebook. I just got onto TikTok, so there's nothing there. So
Okay.
and Twitter. And
Okay.
Twitter. So it's just my name. And yeah, I've actually worked on 3 films already this year that I'm really excited about. One called On Fire is coming out later on this year.
Okay.
And you can watch for me again on All the Queen's Men. D.A. Rods is coming back. So
That's
please.
what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So there you have it. The incredible Enya Flack. Thank you so much again for really taking time out. We wish you nothing but the greatest success and everything that you continue to do. Put your hands on, put your voice on, put your face to, your talents to. Continued success to you, sister. All right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna put that one another great episode in the books. I'm your man Damon Cunningham, aka Dame DNYDC. This is Two Mics Up, and season 7 is rolling along here on the Mogul TV Global Network. The #1 network for positive programming. And if just by chance, if you happen to forget, we are now our own channel now. Started my own channel. This is Infusion TV channel, and make sure you watch Enya Flack here, ladies and gentlemen. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell your mama, them, and everybody. Come on through and hang out with us. We really appreciate your support. And like we always do at the end of each and every episode, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with 2 things and a point. May you all stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.